guys can see my screen.
Okay, dark theme, right?
Yeah. It's still the same. So from last time, this is Command Center. I have not personally worked too much on the homepage. But for those who are new, yes, go ahead.
Here, Paul, so you can take this as an inspiration to make a documentation page somewhat like this, for your Discord bot.
Yeah, actually, I could host this on my official website since I'm already hosting a React page there. I could just make a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
So,
but this is Command Center. What is Command Center? Command Center is a platform for remotely managing your machines that you have. It could be an AWS machine, could be a personal machine, like a gaming machine, Raspberry Pis, Mac. So it's cross-platform, and it's all about remote management. I have three separate suites. I have what I call Backdoor API, Remote Control, and Backdoor Agent. I'll get into I'll talk about all three of them, and I can also demonstrate some of it. So Command Center is the web app that manages all your devices. Backdoor API is literally an API that you download onto one of your machines, and it acts as a automation platform for running like terminal commands or running applications remotely. So I can be all the way out in another country. My computer can be turned on, running Backdoor API, and I can tell it, okay, turn on the camera from all the way there. I want to get a screenshot of what's going on with this computer. Not only see its screen remotely, but also turn on the camera and get a picture of what's going on in the physical space that the computer's located if you want it. Remote Control is literally it's like a Microsoft remote desktop, but for web. So instead of having to install or have Microsoft Remote Desktop set up and all that stuff, you can just have a web version and can remotely control or have a Microsoft Remote Desktop experience anywhere, from any machine. You don't the software to run on the host machine you just install there, but you could remotely control this machine not only on your laptop. I could log into one of your guys' computers and remotely control my same machine if I wanted to. So it just gives you full range access technically to the machines that you own and that are associated with your Command Center account. So there's a register page here, enter in a bunch of relatively sensitive information. But I'm going to go ahead and log in to my account.
What's the age criteria for this, since there's a date of birth?
That's a good question. There's no age criteria yet. I just think I'm just collecting that information just because this is like your machine and these are your machines. And so you got to know. There's no like actual age criteria, but I would say maybe at least 18 plus, because you are exposing your machine, your machines that you register, they are being exposed to the internet. And so a level of, responsibility and security needs to be in place. So maybe 18 years and older. Maybe we'll see. Let me go ahead and log into my account. And so here we have the dashboard page. And so you have your computers and IoT devices. So this is where Backdoor Agent comes in. So Backdoor Agent is a software that I've created for running and hosting Raspberry Pis as IoT devices. So Raspberry Pi has a GPIO board, so you can like connect like Arduinos. It's like kind of like a microcontroller, right? But it's also a computer from a Raspberry Pi. So I can control like lots of little devices like sensors. So heat sensors, temperature sensors, ultrasonic sensors, motion sensors, cameras, LEDs, all these kinds of different little electronic components. And so a backdoor agent is an API that can remotely control these sensors to collect data. So you can trigger the API, say, hey, turn on the motion sensor and activate it. Set a certain threshold for when an object gets too close to the sensor, send an alert to the user. So it's like stuff like that. I can kind of demonstrate the backdoor agent stuff, but what I really can show you is backdoor API as well as remote control. Any questions?
Okay.
Yeah, for the
No, it's fine.
for the backdoor agent. So in your example, the Raspberry Pi would notify you that it's gone too close to something, for example, right?
Yeah.
But can you send messages to the Raspberry Pi?
Yes. So I can turn on the sensors remotely from anywhere and change settings and all that stuff. Yeah. So I'm going to go to, so this is my personal computer. This is the computer that I'm currently hosting the Zoom from.
Does this have a voice connected feature like, hey Siri, connect to Predator computer, something like that?
Oh, like a voice feature? No,
Yeah.
it doesn't. That's an interesting idea though.
So you instead of logging in to your web, you can just save it on the device on Siri, Alexa, or something like that, and you can just say, hey Siri, connect to Predator, and it would instantly connect, and it would give you a IP to your phone which is linked to the same home app. That would be good. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that'd be cool integration with like a phone app, like an iOS app, or maybe if I created it in React Native and add like plugin features to do stuff like that. That's a cool idea. But let me get back to this. So there's some bugs here and there, and the UI is, I'm not a UI designer guy, so it's all right. But let me go ahead and remote control this. So it's going to load up the computer, puts the host name here, and here we have, and this right here is a screenshot of what's going on with my computer. So I can literally interact with all these things right here.
Okay, so this is all running on the web, right?
Oh,
This is what?
So you can see actually how the remote computer is running on the website, right? You don't need a desktop app. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, so remote desktop or remote control and backdoor API are APIs written in Node.js. So it's in JavaScript. It's not in like C or Python or any of the lower level languages. But I mean, it's kind of worked out because I like JavaScript and I like the Node.js runtime environment. But yeah, you can essentially remote control this machine. So if I want to open up the file explorer here, it will do so.
It's completely functional Windows 10 over here on the web.
Yes. And so what you're seeing here, this image, this is actually a screenshot. So this image of the desktop is a screenshot. And so how I have it working is it pings so Command Center, the web app, sends an API request to grab a screenshot from the remote machine, and then it sends it back. Remote control, well, actually specifically this program is using a socket server since it's more real time. So it can send the data a little bit faster. APIs, like if you were to use strictly an API to grab screenshot information and such, it would take quite a bit. It's a lot slower. So I switched to a socket server. So yeah, I can do a bunch of things here.
What if you delete a file on the web? Will it actually get deleted on the real file explorer?
Yes. So everything you're doing here is this is not virtualized. This is direct to the machine. So there is a security issue with that, but I have implemented API keys. So every command you send has it checks and compares with an API key that you're passing in with the request. It's not encrypted. I haven't really played around with SSL or TLS security too much, but I just because like having like self-signed certificates is never, it's very difficult and for production use, like kind of need to have like an actual signed certificate for it to, like, for Chrome to accept it as a place that's secure and safe. But for now, I'm just using normal HTTP. But alongside HTTP, it's also it uses API keys to compare and make sure that things are running, or that an actually authorized user is allowed to be making commands and such. But yeah, everything here that you see, can control Discord. But yeah, it's like basically a remote control, like a remote desktop environment.
So what is the 2 columns down saying download and upload?
So this is one of the cool features. This is one thing that like Microsoft Remote Desktop does not have. You can't, like, there's no download upload feature. So if I want to grab a file from this remote machine here, you can't do that with the normal Microsoft ones. I'm sure they could have implemented that if they wanted, but I think they don't do it for security reasons. But I really want that personally. I need that because I want to transfer files between here, and I don't always want to use cloud storage. Like,
Yeah, it's actually very frustrating to upload it to Drive and then download it from the other system. So
yeah,
this could be actually good feature.
yeah. That's kind of why I want it, is just because I need the control. Let me go to downloads, a bunch of stuff in here. But I can go ahead and, actually, this isn't really the best, since I'm doing it from the same computer. I can't upload and download. It doesn't make sense. But if I should have brought my laptop down and I could have done it from there. But yes, these are functional. I can upload from my current machine. I can upload files on my machine to the remote machine. And I can also download files from the remote machine onto my the machine I'm using. So you can do this. You can supply the path. You can put all these different files in here and stuff and select it. There is a drag and drop feature for uploading. So if you had a file, you could just drag it and drop it into this screenshot window. And that's a possibility. But yeah, that was one of the features I really wanted to have, was download and upload, because it's just like, there's just no good way. I don't like emailing files to myself. That's kind of like, I don't know, that's not cool. And I don't always want to use cloud, especially for things that are really like sensitive and important. Like, let's say it's financial documents or certain code that you don't really want, that you don't want to be necessarily exposed to the cloud or something. So that's why I added these kinds of features. There's some other features. I go back to the dashboard. I can go to this control panel page. This control panel page strictly uses backdoor API. So it makes API calls. There's a bunch of different paths and routes, API calls you can make. There's a heartbeat right here. And there's an output screen here. And this basically just does a simple status check. Is the machine online? Is it working properly? I can also do screenshots. This is a UI issue. This is a non-interactable screenshot. There's nothing you can do here, but it's just a static image. I can send, I think this one is logs. So this is specifically, I can grab all the logs of all the commands, including IP addresses and all that stuff, that like showing who's actually interacting with this machine, and all that stuff. I can send terminal commands, shell commands, which it's not available yet, as well as, I don't know if this works on, but I can also turn on the camera. It's already turned on, so I don't know if it'll work, but let's see.
There's an app which got opened.
Yeah, so obviously it won't work, but yeah, you can turn on the camera remotely. It's a little weird, but hey, if you like to turn your computer into like some sort of surveillance device, you could do that, I guess. And it shows all the output of all the commands that you're sending and if they're successful or not. It also gives you a timestamp and everything. Yeah. And though I'll add more commands and all that stuff. One feature that I want to have is to be able to write your own custom commands, and all that stuff, as well as being able to, download and yeah, just pretty much give you full control remotely if you wanted to. Yeah, that's what I have right now. This was an EC2 environment that I had. This is a sensor device that I have. I actually have it turned off right now, as you can tell by the red status. But yeah, that's what I have for Command Center. Any questions?
Yeah, I think it's super cool, man. I really like
Thanks.
it. But I had a couple of questions. You said you're using sockets.
Mhm.
Can you set it up so that you're just streaming data and you're not taking the screenshot every time?
I could. As I have it now, it's like hard coded to always be sending screenshot data when you're using like remote control, the remote control functionality. So this is like always streaming. This, as it's set up now, it will always be streaming a new screenshot. Yeah, I could turn that off. I could add a feature where you don't want to see the screenshot. And you can just turn it off.
Oh, sorry. So already right now, if it's like real time, it's sending the screenshot every, I'm guessing like second, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty much real time.
Oh, okay. But is that an API call that you're making every second, or is that like you already have a connection between the two machines, and it's just streaming the data?
Yeah. So it establishes a connection upon clicking on so once you click on remote control, it will then establish the socket connection between the local machine and the remote machine.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
And so, and you mentioned that there's a file transfer isn't on Windows.
Yes.
Like the upload, download stuff.
Yeah.
I thought there was something like Windows SCP or something, like some secure, I don't know, file transfer protocol.
Yeah, there is SCP. I know what you're talking about. Is that a default program though? Built into Microsoft?
I'm not
I
sure.
don't know.
I know I've used WinSCP. It's got like a UI interface.
Mhm.
I just assumed it was using something that was already pre-built, pre-came with Windows, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, I've used SCP in like work and all that stuff. As far as I know, I don't know if that's actually a default program installed on all Windows machines. If it was, then it's probably a better system to use actually. But this is a nice, just like simple way of just doing it all in one.
Yeah,
all one platform.
Also, does it work on a cross-platform? Say like I want to send file from Windows to my Mac. Does that work?
Yes, this is a cross-platform because it's Node. Because I built it in Node, I can install all this on a Mac device. Same. You'll see the same effect. You can run remote desktop as well as Backdoor API, as well as Linux machines. Like Backdoor Agent works on my Raspberry Pis. I've never tried Backdoor API on it because I always envisioned Raspberry Pis as more of an IoT kind of device. But if I had like a Ubuntu machine or some other like Arch Linux, I definitely should try installing it and seeing how well it works there. But yeah, all the API requests, they universally work on other platforms.
have you? What is it? In sales?
Oh boy, I haven't even gone there yet.
Oh,
I've been more building out the features that I want and need. And it's actually like, I think like the second or third time I've actually shared this. I've been working on it for a while whenever I get time. But yeah, I definitely want to get more input from other people who are interested in seeing this and maybe even using it. But yeah, I'm not focused on sales or any of that at all.
Also, how do you establish a connection? Is there an end-to-end point token system or something like that?
So it kind of works more similarly to like how like Khalil's API system works. So when you create a project on Codeless and you can grab the API link, it kind of works like that. So each remote machine that you install Backdoor API on and remote control on, it has a specific route and path. One of the downsides of installing remote desktop is that you have to port forward on your router if you want to use it. I'm thinking about ways of kind of like getting around that, because most people don't know anything about the routers. They don't know anything about port forwarding for that matter. So that's kind of like a technical issue / like blocker. But maybe I can use some sort of like reverse proxy to make it so you don't have to do, so that the user does not have to set up or change settings on their router at all. These are things that are issues that are down the line that I hope I never have to deal with. But yeah, there's some stuff there, but it works like any other API. Yeah, that's what I have.
I think
Okay, I have several things that you could do. Let's see. When it comes to, so this could be aimed for like system administrators, right? Because if you have a large data center, whatever, and there are a lot of companies that are still not on the cloud, even if they are, they're probably going to be using EC2 instances, right? Just like you've shown that you can use. So you can do analytics, right? You could just get a ton of data from all the machines and just show them on the screen and say, okay, this one's doing well, this one is low in memory or whatever. So that's one thing that you could do. Just unified analytics for like hundreds of your servers, right? No one's going to want to necessarily go and check each one individually, right? So that's one thing you can do. And you can literally pull the data from all of those. The second thing is, what's it called? Oh, like doing batch commands, right? Again, you have 100 servers, right? No one's going to want to go and start a service. Let's say service goes down, log into every single service, do this, do that, just batch and start the same service on all the servers, right? There are many such examples that people would need. That's one thing. And what's the other one? You shown the file upload and download, right? You should just put an option that so that's not enabled by default, right? For security purposes, right? So that, and you said that you can upload just by dragging and dropping, right? You can now also, I think, if you integrate that into the shell, right? So if you right click on a file, you can say upload to or like download to the current system, something like that. If it can detect which machine is connected to the remote one, you just click upload to my system, right? So you can do it like that if you get what I'm saying. And if you're going to, like try to do sales for this, just reaching out to companies that that are still, on premise or using a lot of EC2, and just make sure that kind of you will be trying to replace, let's say, what's it called? Windows remote desktop, right? Just ask them, what features are you missing with remote desktop, which is obviously one of the obvious ones are the ones that you show upload and download, right? So that could be one thing that you could do.
Yeah, I love that advice. And in my own job, I deal with a lot of EC2s and also customer virtual machines. And it's just a pain in the ass trying to always log into each machine through Citrix, which is a popular company in software for hosting. They're good software. They're just missing features. And so, that was kind of one of the inspirations, is just having the features.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that. That's good advice. But thank you guys for not listening to me and also just joining. I love seeing everyone's projects and stuff. And I just want to generate that community, supportive community. So I love it. This has been fun. This has been a lot of fun.
Just think we need to keep inviting more people. I mean, today we have 5, right? It's just everyone who joined, just invite another person, and we're going to keep growing. That's it.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, if more people do join, it gets a lot bigger. Definitely would interested in switching platforms, because like Zoom is great for small, but definitely if you're scaling up, you definitely got to go to a little bit better platform that handles more people more easily. But that's all down the line. We'll see where this goes. Let's just have fun with it for now and just keep it casual and just be what we are right now for now. But yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Thank you for joining.
I have a pretty cool idea that I don't think anyone's thought of this, but for your scenario, let's say security is a big issue. So what you probably can do is maybe start or create a virtual machine or container from there. I don't know how that will work, maybe a script, but let's say you want to create a Windows subsystem for Linux instance. You could just install Ubuntu into your system and set it up like that and access the terminal within that scope, so you don't have full control over your computer.
Oh, interesting. That's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
That is a lot more secure, because I'm pretty sure containers, there's no shared memory between the actual physical machine and the instance itself. I don't know if there's shared memory, if they cross in any way, but that's a cool idea, actually. Yeah,
so you mean you would be logging into that by default, right?
I think so. Yeah.
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 Also, you should consider having security tokens, end-to-end points.
Yeah. I know. There's so much to do. There's so much with security that's just like so